So you've had individuals with different ideas of how certain things can be done. Now, no more so in the past, century and a half, where we have seen large-scale production move the human race from basically hunter-gatherers to a few settlements and small cities of 200, 300,000 people, to industrialize, mechanize, roboticize, and AI-managed complex societies. The question is, where to from here? Now, if you are a science fiction buff like I am, you've seen several movies of the whatnot, you probably, even on social media these days, you probably be having fillers talking about, we gotta be careful, there's too much AI, we do this, we do that. Now, let me tell you something interesting about how this AI, and all forms of robotism, tends to separate, different classes. So, some would theorize that yes, as more technology comes through, just like we did in the early 60s and 70s, where more people were able to afford, say more people, I'm talking about Americans and the West, afford cooking cylinders, gas cookers, microwaves, big freezers and deep freezers, signs that your life was getting better. Now, interesting, whilst that was happening for the majority of the people, the really wealthy and influential people were not having small fridges. They were not doing small gas. They were doing, complex kitchens. They've always done that. They've always found a way to stay away from what all of you are doing. They will give you all what you're doing, all what you need, but they will do it a bit differently. It's the same thing with the AI. Some of you are learning AI. No, don't stop learning, by the way. To make adverts, make movies, comedy. Yeah, great work. But guess what? The really niche brands still like organic feel. So much so that whilst they're giving and donating money for AI, they still value the organic feel of production. So if you listen to me, you're a music producer, a voiceover artist, a presenter, have no worries because you are organic, and organic always sells. And let's get into it. To organic conversations right here on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
Hello, Port Harcourt, with Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
The General Officer Commanding 6th Division Nigeria Army, Major General Emmanuel Emeka, says that the division recorded zero incidents of pipeline vandalism within its area of responsibility in 2025. Now, this was the headline from the Punch newspaper last week, right? About 2 weeks ago, actually, January 20th. Now, if you paid attention to the news, sometime last week, right, there was a leak in the pipeline. No, gas leak. Now, it's not vandalism. We don't quite, investigations haven't determined yet. However, the Orashi National Congress has now joined in calling on the government and its agencies to find a solution to the gas leak in the pipeline in Ahoda West local government area of Rivers State, right? That's of all the combustibles and of all the petrochemical products that I am personally afraid of, gas ranks right there as my number one fear. And I'll tell you why, because this is a lived experience. Now, a few years ago, this is 2026, sometime in 2016 or 17, if I'm not mistaken now, just about a decade ago, we were traveling from Edo State, right? We're traveling from Edo State. So we got through the bad roads of Patani. That time, Warri was kind of bad. Warri was bad last year. I don't know if it's much better now. But anyway, we got past Patani. We've come through River Non, right? We've left Yenegua, right? So now we're approaching River State, right? Past Imbiama Junction. That's the major milestone. Now, somewhere between that Ahoda, right? That Ahoda that we're talking about right now, those of you who travel a lot know that when you pass the junction where you have the NNPC petrol station. That's like the mark area. If you're traveling, once you just see that petrol station, right? NNPC mega station there, Ahoda junction, you just know you are about 35 to 55 minutes, depending on the road, away from Choba. So you're excited. Now, from that point, right, about 10 minutes or 15 minutes into that trip, from that point down, as we're approaching Choba, as we're approaching Emowa, right, all our eyes, every single one of us in that bus started to water. It was irritating. It felt like we had just come in contact with gas, talking about tear gas. The driver was perplexed. All of us in the bus were perplexed. We're like, what's going on? Why am I waiting to irritate me? And the driver was forced because, he was trying to, minimize his fear. He didn't want to use the air conditioning. So he was now forced to use the air conditioning from that point till we got to Port Harcourt. It was one of the most frightening experiences I've ever had on the road. We just passed. We just passed. It's not like we stayed there, we're buying a quick area. No, we just passed that area. And then our eyes were watching. It couldn't have been one person inside the bus because the windows were open. My question this morning is, why are the responses to damaged pipelines delayed? Yenagua, 2 years ago, delay. The people were crying, oil is spilling for weeks. Ogones had the same problem. Part of Emoa at one point in time, there was a point when there was a vandalization. Nosdra. So my real question this morning is, why does this type of accident take so long to be addressed? Why? What exactly is the problem? 017-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. At Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and X. At Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. Then do send us a message on the WhatsApp platform. The number is 0809-030-6416. By 2.3, good morning. Hello, Port Harcourt.
Hello.
Good
morning.
Good morning, please.
Thank you. My name is Nero.
Welcome.
Well, Jude, your question is so funny. But the question I ask myself is, with the billions and trillions we've invested, to protect this pipeline, why are they still being vandalized? What is happening? They protect this pipeline, the amount of money they give to people to protect these pipelines. I don't even want to mention names. Why are these pipelines still being vandalized? You will pass across pipelines, even in the waterways, in the creeks. You will see that there are no protection, nothing. Once in a while, you don't see one or two gunboats pass, and once in a while, you don't see security officials pass. Nothing. Nobody is steady. There is no steady protection of these pipelines.
But the military said last year there was no, in their area of protection, there was no vandalization. But this is different. This is a gas leak. But whether it's a gas leak now or it's a vandalization or a pipe burst somewhere, the question really is, why does it take so long for them to respond to it?
Oh, Jude, the way they behave as though Nigerians, we don't even have common knowledge of these things. We only need expatriates. We only need to import people outside this country to fix these things. But Nigerians have the best mind when it comes to these things. Yeah, we have our people going. I don't even want to mention the name of the company. People that train people. Every time they go on different radio stations to offer for admission, for people to come for training, and people are trooping in. Companies are training people. I know of a church that is training people on how to repair pipelines or pipelines, how do they call them? They do. We have these people. But you know what? It is all politics and bad leadership. They are not interested. They are not interested in things that they know that will cause danger, serious harm, and death to But rather, do you know what they will do? They will look for their own companies, go and register their own companies, and now award the contracts to their companies who are just totally incompetent and don't even have any know-how of these things. Then they will now give them trillions of money, give them the contract. When they get there, they will do one or two, and they will move, and the price will still be leaking. And this is because, trust me, there is no how we will say they've not contracted, they've not given these contracts to people. If you go to the record, you will see that, yeah, they've given people to go and do this, but nothing has been done. Some persons will bluntly, because it is them, the politicians, they will not go, they will take the money and nothing will happen. At the end of the day, they'll be sent from one party to another. But they've given contracts for people to go and repair, but no repairs will be done.
So basically, thank you very much. Basically, she's saying that it is transparency of the responses. They probably do know because, let's look at the very terrible ones that happened in the past 2 years. In Bayelsa State, in Nembe, where the people for 6 or 7 days they could just basically see crude gushing out and nobody was saying anything. The government said, we're sending a high power delegation. Should it have taken 7 days to elicit response for the government? The gas is leaking, and not the first time. In fact, I think sometime last year there's also a case of a gas pipeline leak in one of the communities around River State. Did it have to take the radio stations to be aware to call? Why? Because, for example, in this case, the gas flames and we hear boom. Not sometimes. Every single industry has its dangers. Take ours, for example. Whilst I'm here in the studio having conversations with you, I have 5 screens in front of me. 7, 8, 5, 6, 9. I have 9 screens in total. Now, at every given point in time, my eyes are roving through all the screens, making sure levels are maintained, making sure queues are kept, making sure the internet is working so that any information I give you is A1 correct. And whilst I'm also doing that, my supervisors, I have a team in the background that will be sending me messages, giving me updates, telling me to do this, read the news and whatnot, check the time, do this and do that. Now, there's a risk here because at any given point in time, as we've experienced several times in this particular part of the world, when there's a lightning strike during the rainy season, you probably notice that that's when we tend to experience a lot of lightning strikes. It affect transmitters. It could go bad. Things go bad, and that's why we have a team on standby 247 to replace damaged ICs, to replace damaged radios, to replace damaged relays, fix generators. It's a complex system, but it's a system that works because you need to prepare, you need to plan for eventualities. Nigerians wouldn't want to believe, right, that the government that actively makes a lot of money from taxation and sometimes the outright sale of crude or any other installation, even telecommunications, wouldn't have eventualities thoughts. Health safety protocols, ought to have been studied and written down. There should be a protocol to respond for this type of issue, that type of issue, or those types of issues. But Nigeria, unfortunately, has not responded, with this briskness of intent in the past few years. In fact, one report, in fact, 2 reports I got to read over the weekend and showed that between 2018 and 19 till last year, Nigeria experienced no less than 6,000 pipeline leaks or vandalization. 6,000. Some reports even have it higher. Now, yes, a good number of them have been fixed. But the question here is, it looks as though when you speak to the people in those communities that they expect something to be done immediately. So there's a pipeline leak. Yes, NOSDRA and NMPC and those who are in charge. Sometimes the privately owned oil companies or oil servicing companies who are domiciled in those areas, may just have the system automated. So before they will mobilize a team to come through, maybe it takes a day or 2. But it is beyond the comprehension of many a Niger Delta person, many in Nigeria, that it would take sometimes a whole week for something to actually be done. Sometimes you ask, can't some of these pipelines be remotely shut? Why do we have to have a leak, continue for anything more than 24, 48 hours? Can they, remotely shut it down from wherever the source is? Now, I am no engineer, but my job is to ask questions that you on the streets have asked, which is why we're here. So, is it a bureaucratic issue? Is it a manpower issue that has led to some people saying the responses to these pipeline leakages or vandalism are slow? What say you, please?
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
With Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
017-923-0002, 0817923-0003, 0817923-0002, 0817923-0003. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you'll find us on Facebook and on X, at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH. And also send us a message if you can be part of the conversation via any of the platforms already listed. SMS come through to 0809 030 6416. 0809 030 6416. That's where you'll find us. 92.3 Nigeria Info. Good morning to you. Hello, Port Harcourt.
Good morning, Augustine Otto, a holder of ISP World Safety Organization, Oil and Gas Operational State.
Good morning, Augustine.
One factor causes delay is bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy?
That's what they call, yes, work to permit. For you to go to such a hazardous, you must have a work to permit. So it will be better for a company takes better for them to be after whatever that was. To the processes involved in such an incident is one of the factors that causes that kind of thing. Especially now, the scraping up of a DPRO is so the option of oil and gas services in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, that's an interesting take. Thank you. It says it's bureaucracy, all right? So, you need certain documentation to get that. That I know, that I understand, which led me to asking the question, wouldn't the government have made procedures laid down should these things happen? There should be companies that have, that recognize, we talk about local content. They should be recognized and they should be ready so that if there is a set disaster somewhere, that company that is close by ought to respond. Or does that not make sense? Barry from Gukana. Barry, good morning to you.
Good morning, Jude.
Good morning, please.
How are you today?
Very well, please.
The subject you are discussing is of interest to me because I'm a health, safety, and environment practitioner.
Okay.
And this is my first time contribution on the show.
Welcome, Mr. Barry.
When we talk of pipeline vandalization in the Niger Delta or in Nigeria generally, some of these have to do with aging facilities.
Okay.
Some of them have to do with outright vandalization.
True.
But, like the question you ask, you see, technologies are in place. But will you be surprised if I tell you that some of the technologies that are even put in place here are disabled?
What do you mean disabled?
There is... Right now, they know what is happening. They know. Because breaking into a pipeline with pressure is not something for the common man. Those boys who are in the creek, it's something that involves technology, involves money. I have worked in places where we have to do what we call hot tap. That is, you have to work on an existing line to divert product into a new line and things like that. It's not easy.
Okay.
It involves a lot of technology.
Okay.
So it's money. I mean, you want to go into bunkering and you have to hire a tugboat, you have to hire a barge, all this. It's a lot of money. So it's just that we don't want to do it right. We just don't want to do it right.
But Barry, let me ask you. The Major General in charge of 6th Division said last year they didn't experience any vandalization because they were patrolling. Right? Let's give kudos to that. But for what you said, aging infrastructure, sometimes they would fail. In this case, let's assume it has failed in Ahoda. There's a leak. The rust has whatever got in there. So why then is it taking so long for it to be addressed?
Of course, this big conglomerates, it's not like a one-man business where, okay, we need to fix the table now, we can just go ahead, meet the capital, fix it. Bureaucracy is there. And then sometimes you have to contend with the communities involved. No, you have damaged our farmland, you have to pay this. So even when you have mobilized, you cannot go in there to do something.
Yeah, but Barry, isn't that part of the process in the siting of installations, that there's a possibility that your activity will affect those in the immediate area? You should also factor that. You don't know what the PIA was designed for.
That is part of what the PIA was supposed to address. But you know what happens? Because the polluter should pay. And now, Mr. Jude is the polluter, is a big man. The first thing they say is that this thing was sabotage, even though it was due to aging facility. So as to blame the community so that they can deny what they were supposed to pay.
Wow.
Without investigation, they will just conclude the sabotage. You can listen to what they say. It's a terrible situation.
It really is, Mr. Barry. That's a very serious insight you've shared this morning. Barry from Gukana, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, the polluter must pay. Those of you who have been following the PIA Act from when it was a bill to when it was a finally an act, a lot of complex issues were raised. And there should be an independent body. I'm not going to cast aspersions here. For any such incident, there should be an independent investigation, to say, okay, what are the remote and immediate causes for this leak? Is it vandalization? Is it aging facility? Is it an act of God? Like, say, there was a very severe thunderstorm and the lightning struck a tree, the tree fell. These things happen. We live on a very, very, a dramatic planet. So why don't we have these things? Why? Because ultimately, look for our listeners who are in Abuja, who are in parts of Lagos, or maybe who are up north, or maybe outside the country, you may not realize, but a good number of people live in these communities where these pipelines traverse. Ofoji is on the line. Zion is standing by from GR. Ofoji, good morning to you, please.
Yeah, good morning, my brother.
Good morning.
Happy New Month.
I wish you the same.
You see, the last speaker exactly said what I have been trying to connect to before he said this. Yes, some of these materials, this pipe, they are all aged out materials. So the pressure will burst out. As I talk with you in Oyibo, Shibu Street, that's where this, what they call it, this explosion happened there for past 2 weeks, 3 months now. Could you believe it that we have been begging these people to come and stop that place? They are just messing up. And even that it is we who broke that here, or some bandits who broke that thing, they will keep on disturbing. In fact, the general who said that there's this thing now, this vandal. Now, the small change they have been giving us, they now reduce it. Is it supposed to be? When the people are now trying to monitor the pipeline so that the thing will go accordingly, instead of them to increase their hand, they are now reducing it. Which way Nigeria? I mean, people should know what, and this experts, so-called experts, should be able to know when that pipe is due for them to replace it. So that all these things will not cause havoc in the communities.
All right, to forestall breakdown, unfortunately, thank you very much. We've lost contact with Zion. Ebere is on the line from Aba. Ebere, good morning to you.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
I'm Yadi Ebere Adiele from Aba.
Welcome.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, please. Go on, please.
Okay. There was a company I was working in. So, at the time, I told somebody, let's hurry and finish this job. The person told me, if we finish it now, what are we going to do tomorrow so that we'll be also paid tomorrow?
Are you serious?
That's what I'm saying.
Yes. Are you serious?
If the job gets finished
Yeah.
now, what are we going to do tomorrow so that we'll also earn the money of tomorrow? So by delaying, we make more money. That's just the idea.
Even if the delay is going to affect people.
What is happening all over Nigeria? Wherever you see delay, somebody is gaining from it. That is that.
the technicalities of pumping oil. Let me tell you, there's a course we did in school known as fluid mechanics.
Okay.
Fluid mechanics. Immediately there is tampering of oil pipeline, and the oil starts gushing out. Right at the point of supply, they know. In fact, they know first before the community, the people of the village will find out. They will know. Because of what? Change in pressure. Once the pressure changes down there, at that particular second, they know. So there was a caller that said that right at the headquarters, that people there
watch it, yes.
know what is happening.
Yeah.
They deliberately delay. I concur with that because I did fluid mechanics in school.
Okay.
So I think what should be done is that those who gain from all those delays, they should be fished out. And another problem we are having is the laws here. Because the communities that suffer from all those things, they don't even have the money to go to court.
To prosecute, I see.
Assuming the courts, we are really working the way courts should work, like the way it works in Britain. I know that you will never hear of pipeline vandalism or gushing of oil in Britain or Kuwait or some other countries. It's only here in Nigeria that you hear about those things. Why? Because of the court system here.
Okay. Barry, thank you very much. Zion is back from the GRA. Zion, good morning to you.
Not back. I've been here for over 10 minutes.
Welcome, please.
The problem is poverty and illiteracy. That is why such issue campaign for days, weeks, even months, and unattended to. Poverty plus illiteracy is equals to corruption. That is my formula. Please put it on record. The level at which we behave in this part of the world, Nigeria, in the Niger Delta region, you can't even call it where people exist. Do you know that oil is being mined, processed, and explored in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in America? Have you ever heard such a news? That is what we call the Oklahoma Cooperative Commission. Any news about oil, that commission will be notified. In a minute, there is a response. Why are they responding? It's because of the life in that environment, which includes the aquatics. But here, they will not respond to, you know why? You don't get money, you are poor. Shut up.
Yeah, but we have Nostra, we have NNDPR.
No, don't mention those bodies. Oh, these are corrupt enterprises. People that have been positioned to benefit from the criminal profit and distribute it to their cronies. Sir, you heard the man they call Ken Salwiwa of blessed memory. My very good friend. I wish I met this man in person. Very brilliant. He went to a process and shut down oil exploration in his environment. For years now, Nigeria is looking for a way to unlock it. He took the keys and he walked away. And look at what his own brothers are doing now. Because of corruption, come and do this so that he can explore oil. None of them know what that man did for the Goni people. If the Bayelsa people can do that, Nigerian government would have positioned a commission that will regulate not only the pipeline, but also regulate the lives of the people living there. You went and give money, billions of somebody to come and protect your pipeline, but the community that this pipeline went through, what did you give to them? My brother, the average Nigerian in this environment have a ritualistic instinct, which means he prefers for something to die for him to benefit. If nothing dies, he cannot benefit.
So Zion, what then is the real reason why there's a delay in this?
Poverty and illiteracy, nothing is delaying it. As a mention, okay, you that is the thank God you said that it now. As both of us is talking now, suddenly there's a glitch. Your engineers will slip into action immediately. Two of us.
That's what they're paid to do.
Go to all the state-owned broadcast system, go and see them. Those equipment that can be compared to your own. What went wrong? It is nothing. If the people of this environment say the way Nigeria is for a private organization is working through this year doing its job, we want our state-owned broadcast system to work in like manner, 24 hours, or else we will not vote you. Tell me if they will not get someone else that will fix it. Our problem is corruption. And we all are benefiting from the process. That's why we are not speaking. As you are talking now, professionals in that field are listening. And I want to put it to your notice, sir. Someone else will soon join us here. You know why? He will soon retire from the whole thing. He's tired. He's fed up. He wants a change. When he starts calling him, he's going to educate us what has been going on in that industry that needed a total change, a total overhauling. And I'm waiting for him to soon retire and join us. As I'm talking to him, he's listening. But he can't call him. You know why? He's still there.
All right. Zion, thank you very much. Messages now. 0809 030 6416. 0809 030 6416. Jude, this question has been bothering me for years. How come when we don't have power, we need to shout at the government to let them know? Is it that they don't know that this power has not been supplied? How come when we don't have water, the people have to shout to let the government know that they don't have power? How come people are dying? We still have to shout so that the government knows that we are dying. Something is not right. That's a very interesting analogy. How come something goes wrong? It's the people that have to shout to let the government know that something is wrong. But you've heard from some of the callers this morning, before I get out some of the messages, say, look, there's a system of checks. And they probably would know even before, the residents in that area would have an idea that something like this has happened. Why? Because they have monitoring systems. So if there are monetary systems, the people in Adebabri, the people in Sagbama, the people in Ahoda West, the people in Onelga, the people in